Hello, I'm Rinya, aka Media Adaptation, and welcome back to Moderation while Maze Fair Game. And it's Saturday, so that means it's time for more Erma. But first, I hope you all enjoyed a happy Friday the 13th, especially with a full moon. And in another oddity, it's also the Palindrome Week. For the next few days, the date is spelled the same forwards and backwards. But enough random trivia, let's get on to why you're all here. We finally got a new entry with the Recounted Days Part 1. And normally we do a comic dub, which is actually closer to a narration, but due to some wonderful mandatory overtime, which is now on its 5th month, it has been kind of difficult to get the time to do so. We've had several viewer requests, different sections that they'd like us to do as well, so we'll try and add those to a few weeks between some of the new releases. So anyway, let's start. Here's your tea, Samuel-san. Thank you. Do you not like it, sir? Actually, quite the opposite. I can't even begin to tell you how many cups of tea I've had in my life, and this is one of the best. Oh, it's nothing, it's just my own little recipe. Well, you might need to shop it around. A taste like this can't go unnoticed. May I have some more? I might be out here a bit. Of course, sir. It's been a few days since we arrived here, and only a couple more before the night of the parade. Still no sign of Emiko's parents, which should be worrisome. From what I hear, it's been years since they've last been to the village. Nobody in town's too hung up about it, not even Emiko, her sisters, or her brother. Kinda seems like they're hoping they don't arrive. I mean, it's been pretty mellow here compared to our first 2 days, especially with the locals treating us with the utmost kindness. But I get the feeling that things are still not the best they can be. Recently, Emiko's been trying to make up for all the lost time she possibly can with her siblings. Most of the time, she's helping them out with the preparations for the parade. It's kind of funny seeing how casual they're talking to each other now, even with Ren. It's almost like she never left home. Still, I don't think everyone has come around yet. Perhaps we need a different band. Can you go get my list, Emiko? Sure. Oh, Mayumi, I didn't mean to... Here, let me get that for you. So, we really haven't spent much time together, have we? Maybe after I'm done helping out Fumiko, maybe we can go out for Tokiyaki. How about it? My treat. Well, we got 3 main takeaways from this. The first is Mayumi still hasn't adjusted to Emiko being back, which I believe is going to be the main focus of this arc. And second, Rin apparently loves death metal. Given what we learned about in the previous arc with her, this might be the first time she's actually heard it. And 3, Sam is super smooth when talking to ghost girls. But the thing that currently bugs me is that I don't know what type of yokai she is. We get no name, and all we have to go on are her face markings, which, aside from a common anime trope, is mostly useless because they're mostly interchangeable between yokai. They could be tears, but again, no leads on that front either. So she's gonna drive me insane in the meantime. Anyway, it's time for our Q&A, and our first one was originally posted on the Erma community on Amino. I've been there and read it for the past few weeks, and it's a great little group, and I'd recommend it to fans of the comic. But anyway, the question was, does Erma's black eyes affect her vision? Well, the white part of the eye is called the sclera. It is thicker than the other parts, and serves to protect them. Also, it has no function in sight, so its color doesn't factor in. Just as pink eye doesn't affect your vision, means it has no effect if it's also black. Anyway, I'll turn this over to Ada for the rest of your questions.
If Erma can be summoned in the way of Scary Mary with a mirror, can you do the same trick with her mother Emiko?
While this method is normally associated with Western ghosts, in the manga I Married the Ring Girl, another Anu was able to use this ability as well. So yes, Emiko could possibly do so.
Can Erma be affected by the Music Meister's hypnotic singing?
A few weeks ago, someone asked us if Erma could be hypnotized, and we pointed to Volume 1 of Tales of Outcast as an argument against any sort of visual hypnosis. But the question posed by the viewer is, could Erma be hypnotized by auditory hypnosis, like the type employed by Neil Patrick Harrison's Music Meister from Batman the Brave and the Bold? His power is non-magical. As it's stated, his voice could reach an octave so high that it produces this effect, and he spent the rest of his life perfecting it to reach this magnitude. This power doesn't seem to discriminate between humans, aliens, and other species, so it'll definitely affect her human side. But what about her ghost side? And to that, we default over to our good old stand-in for the DC Universe, James Caddick, aka Gentleman Ghost, who bears a striking resemblance to Phantom, which is not surprising since he's a big DC fan. Anyway, back on subject, the Music Meister flies by Arkham and causes all the inmates to riot, in choreographed fashion, and one of the people doing so was Gentleman Ghost. So yes, based on this information, I would say that Erma would be affected, like everyone else, and if they ever fought, he would easily win.
If Erma could have the ability to talk, would she be a good singer?
Again, there's a lot of ifs in that scenario. While Onryus themselves don't really possess any unique talent to do so, unless it's unique to the spirit that they came from, many female yokai do, however, so a case can be made either way, so I guess we'll figure out later.
Could she be friends with Nate Timely and Patrice Blazing? From the Plants vs. Zombies comic.
Well, given their transgressions from being from that series, I'd say at first they would mistrust anything undead, but after the initial clash, I could see them talking things out.
Erma vs. Severy Campbell Camber from the web show Camp.
Strangely enough, the only Rooster Teeth show I haven't seen. Bring back Nomad of Nowhere. Well, from a quick wiki search, they're just a bunch of kids, and have no real way of dealing with any of her powers. So, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to have to get the point to her.
Can't she be absorbed by Cell from DBZ?
Well, first off, all she'll need to do is to phase through his tail, so nothing would happen. And secondly, there have been a lot of differing reports if Cell could even absorb other people in the first place, which sadly the games are no help in the matter, so I'm going to stick to my above answer.
Which fighting game would she be in?
Well, Skullgirls comes to mind, but we also have some of the Toho games, like Urban Legends and Limbo, where each fighter has a yokai that grants them powers, in the form of special moves.
Can Erma beat Majora's Mask?
Well, are we talking the mask or just Skull Kid? If it's a fight between someone using the mask, Erma could take them, as they tend to be slow and predictable. But if we're talking about the spirit inside the mask, that's something different entirely, as it borders on god-level power, and you need the fierce deity mask to even try and stop it. So in that case, the mask would win. But Erma plus the mask, then God help us all.
Do you think Erma could be friends with Aang and Korra from The Last Airbender?
Aang, easy. Korra might be a bit headstrong at first, but I think it'll all work out in the end.
How would Erma react if Mitsu and Momo met Frisk and Chera?
Erma and Frisk will try to keep the peace, while the other three try to kill each other.
What if Erma met Isaac from the game Binding of Isaac?
Well, first assuming the game isn't just a giant dream. Isaac doesn't like confrontation, so he wouldn't attack her, and the two would probably help each other find their way out.
What if Erma was on a sugar rush?
Dear God, she would act like her cousin.
What kind of dragon would make a good pet for Erma?
Is Godzilla an answer? If not, then Night Fury, Chaos, Bone, or Ghost are all good choices.
Erma versus me.
Erma, easy. Human targets of any kind don't stand much of a chance.
What if Erma meets the Flash?
They would probably have a race. She's good in small bursts, but Flash has a better top speed and far more stamina.
Could the Loomis character we saw in Spirits Bloom and the Labyrinth be Sam's father?
Well, that's something I've never really thought of before. In Spirits Bloom, the mom did say it's a shame that the whole family wasn't there to see them, and factoring in her age, that would seem to match up. Unsure if they're going to go with that angle, because that would raise a bunch of weird questions that need to be ironed out. We do have the photo in his office of both Emiko and Sam back when she had short hair. But again, most of the other things around Erma would get odd with him either knowing or not knowing. But then again, Sam did once say in the yokai bar that he hasn't seen a hooper like that since his dad's drunken stupor, implying that he was either impolite and not a very good husband. So they could have broken up, but this gets into the realm of way too many what-ifs. There is enough here to make a case for this point, but until we get more information about this, like maybe a solo comic coming up in Tales of Outcast, so this will be a topic we'll have to come back to at a later date.
Who would win between Erma's entire family, both yokai and human side, versus Wanshinchu deity?
Again, we hit the point of god-level beings. To clarify this part, this is the tale that Mothra is based on, only 1,000 times worse. This thing could wipe out the whole yokai march, the night parade of 100 demons with barely any effort. We'd also have to factor in their grandfather in his prime just for them to get enough power to escape from it. So in short, no, I don't think they'll win.
What if Sam met H.P. Lovecraft?
They would probably spend hours comparing notes.
What if Erma found a random vessel from Hollow Knight?
Probably either take it home with her, or show it off in class.
What if Erma met Yorshka from Dark Souls?
I think she'd be really confused on how she got there. But I don't think they would fight.
Would the poison from the Steven Universe movie would hurt Erma?
Well, this is an interesting one. The poison affects all organic life, which she is. But we've also seen her remove her skin, heart, and head to no ill effect. So that just complicates things. But if we go by Greg's exposure to it, it causes pain, then shuts down all ability for you to use that limb. So I believe that part would affect her.
Do you think that Santiago has already planned to end the series, and are we now in the final arch?
Due to the few inconsistencies we talked about before, namely our missing yokai from Spirit's Bloom, I highly doubt that this series is set in stone. And given Loomis, Phantom, and the first babysitter, we still needed at least 2 more full story arcs to resolve them all. So, no on both of them.
Is Erma similar to Sam from Trick or Treat?
Nope, a very different creature type. I think he would technically date back to a nature elemental made by a druid.
Can't she train lickers from Resident Evil?
Well, most scary things seem to like her, so it's well within the realm of possibilities.
Can't she beat Pumpkinhead?
Well, Pumpkinhead himself cannot be hurt, but he is soul-linked to a human, who has to be close by, and when Rage Mode kicks in, could be caught up as collateral damage. When the human gets hurt, he gets hurt. And given her speed, it's highly doubtful that it could actually hurt her. So I'm going to call this one for Erma.
Can't she beat the Martaxan from War of the Worlds?
Well, a single Mortaxian is nothing much, but their numbers are in the thousands, with a wide array of tech. So given how this question is worded, I'm going to say no.
Would she team up with the Ultra Brothers?
Probably in a heartbeat, but they normally fight kaijus, so there may be a conflict of interest down the line.
Erma versus the minions of Set.
The ones for Samurai Jack? Well, they beat Jack like he was nothing, and a god had to step in to take them out. So I believe that's far outside of her wheelhouse.
What has she met the Ginyu Force?
I don't think they'd see her as a threat, and they would probably bond over teaching her their dance poses.
Can you do shout-outs?
Sure, I guess. Ada, would you be so kind?
Okay, a big thanks to everyone who posted and asked questions. So Martin and Kelly, Gamer Flask Studios, Carlos Tucker, Shai Cardoza, Taylor Edwards, Sumiro Kimura, Grimchild, Battlefield 101, Tyson Myers, Jacob Spencer, Hunter Green, His Handguts, Nayfair P2295, Libra XY, JJI Gray, 55 Allegria, Xenomorph Hybrid, Lore Topaz, and Angel Cruz. And finally, our last question is Erma versus Seda. Wait, what?
Really? Okay. Ada would control the early game. Since she doesn't have a physical form, Erma couldn't touch her. Plus, she has a lot of long range with electric-based attacks. But this fight would quickly turn in Erma's favor whenever she hit Rage Mode and starts breaking the room around us. No holodeck means no way to project her avatar, which equates to a loss.
I'd say you're playing favoritism.
I'm just going by the facts. And in Tales of Outcast, she beat an AI with the odds stacked against her. So if this starts as an even fight, then it still puts her out in the lead. And that about does it for this video. If you have any other ideas like seeing made into a video, then please post it down in the comments below, and we'll add it to our next viewer request week.
It's now time for the part of the show where we ask you to help us appease the YouTube algorithm by dropping a like, share, or comment. It helps out much more than you'd think.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, then it's very much appreciated. And if you'd like to support this channel, then please visit our Patreon. Link will be down in the description below. Even if you can't give a lot, every little bit helps. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Anyway, I'm Runya.
And I'm Ada.
Remind you to take life in moderation.
Weep not, poor children, for life is this way. But and passion. Hush now, dear children, it must be this way, to weary of life and deceptions. Rest now, my children, for soon we'll away into the calm and the quiet.